All right, I just did that little walk. You all saw me make a video. You'll see it before this one. I dropped my car off at the mechanic, and I was walking down to David's. And actually, I texted David, and I said, I'm on the way, I'm walking. If I don't hear from you, if you're not up, I'm going to keep walking, which I would have. And then he texted back. He said, I texted you, didn't you get it? And I didn't get it, but I got the last one. Now, I'm here with David. David, I posted the picture of him the other day. We're just talking. And he might not want to share the whole. He's got a very interesting testimony and story. And I told him, you don't have to really be prepared because you see all my videos. All right. Now we're just talking. Here's David. Tell me what you were saying.
Well,
the story.
We were kind of talking about the end of my story when my recovery started. And that I cried out to God, if you're there, please help me. And I said that it was my early recovery. I thought it was me doing something, you know, that I got a hold of God, but He was always there. And now it's more and more like He called me. I had nothing to do with it, you know. I was just there and available, and He wanted to use me because of everything I've been through. I just had to be willing and broken down enough, and it was I called Him at the same time He was calling me. You know, I think He chose me more than me choosing to follow Him. He chose me. It's just my medication. It says it's ready when it comes up there.
It says that in Ephesians, and I quote that a lot, that God chose us.
Yeah, before we were born, and He knew us in our mother's womb and all that.
Yeah.
And I know that I've had a sense of God all my life since I was a little child. I've had a feeling and a sense of God. And I was explaining to a Jehovah's Witness girl yesterday. I don't know if you know Luke's girlfriend's Jehovah's Witness.
I didn't know.
And I said, you know how you can sit at a mall and you see all these people, or you can be at a light and you see all these people walking, and you can't feel them. You don't even care about them. You don't care about people on the other side of the world. It's like the whole world evolves around you. You're so self-centered, and so that it's you, you know, and nothing else really. And I told her, I said, that's what I'm trying to focus on, my relationship with God. That He has so many people to work with, but yet He works with me personally. You know, and with my little problems, when there's kids getting blown up, you know, in Iraq and all that kind of bad stuff happening, He still cares about just me. And so I realized that feeling I've had that is all about me and everything can be generated and focused towards my relationship with God. You know, that I do have a personal relationship with Him, and it does matter, and I do matter. And everyone else does too. They have their own personal relationship with Him, but I myself am nothing, you know. And I know that now from working the steps and going back and looking at my life, that I wasn't what I thought I was, you know. And my life really didn't matter much till I started following God. Or at least I didn't see it. I was doing things for God, not aware of it. Now I'm doing it and I'm aware of it. That's the difference.
David's, I'll just fill in little tidbits. David's story is, you've seen Huey on some of the videos, actually. I did a meeting, Huey was in it, and Andy and David are all brothers that I've known for many years. And when I was in Flower Bluff, I'm still here in Flower Bluff and Corpus Christi, but I did street ministry for many years. And so David's brothers, Andy and Huey, I knew them many years. But I never really worked with David because David, he would show up at the mission called Timmons. But when I seen David, he was mean, you know, just walk in and walk out. Sometimes his brothers would say, oh, David, you know, John, come talk to John. And David, you know, he didn't want nothing to do with anything. He was he was using for many years meth, and he was just mean. And one day, this is years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, one day his brother said, my brother David wants to talk to you. and he had some type of an experience. And I said, sure, I'll talk to you, brother, when I see him. And he showed up at the mission maybe 4 years back, and he already had made a change. And when I seen David that day, he looked so different. He's not, see him now, he's very kind of like mellow and peaceful. But that day, he looked different. And he was telling me his experience. Now, David's experience, he'll tell it, as he wants, because it's a long testimony. But he was at the bottom of the barrel. He was at the end of his rope. And he shared it with me. And two guys, I'll let him tell it, but he's kind of not really prepared to tell the whole thing. But two guys had seen him and said, we'd like to take you out to eat. Would you like to go out to eat or something? And David said, sure. I remember some of it. He might see I remembered. And then these guys were kind of, maybe looking a little dressed up, normal guys. And David ate the meal, and David thought maybe they were trying to pick him up. And he said, I appreciate the meal, but they were from AA, and they were out carrying the message. I just wanted to fill that in. That was the beginning of his transformation of David made it big. He made a lot of money, very successful contractor doing concrete. His sons are still in the business. He had a lot of contracts at the Navy base, made a lot of money, owned expensive homes, had a home at Lake Mathis where my daughter's got the little ranch, had houses. And then when he got into meth, everything, lost it all on the street. All right. I told some of your story because...
Okay. Well, I don't...
Talk good, whatever you want.
Well, I'll just tell you that my father was an alcoholic. I had two little brothers. And when my dad would come home, he was mean. I tried to protect my two little brothers, and he was mean to my mother and stuff like this. My mother used to take us three down to the bowling alley, which stayed open 24 hours, when my dad was coming home drunk, and try to protect us. And we would sleep in the booth down there while she would drink coffee and smoke cigarettes all night. And when it came time for school in the morning, Dad had gone to work, and she would take us home and get us ready for school. And I remember hiding under the bed and him reaching his hand under there and trying to grab one of us and pull us out by his leg. And he really didn't want to be mean with us. He just wanted to hold us and love us. And I remember him putting me on his lap and squeezing me so hard. And I remember the smell of beer and alcohol and how his beard rubbed against me. And I just hated him. I hated my dad. And I even planned to kill him one time. I was only, I don't know, I think it was in 4th grade, and I had pulled out the couch, so there was a little crawl space behind it, and pulled a couple of tables out, and I had a hammer at the other end, and when my dad came to the door, I was going to say something and make him chase me. I was going to run behind there, and he was going to have to be on his knees after me coming, and when he came out behind the couch, he would be on his knees, and I would hit him with the hammer. And that was my plan. That's how much I hated him. I hated him so much that my first name is John, the same as his, but at school I went by David. Back then they were real strict, and when they would roll call, they would say John Martin, and I wouldn't answer them. They even brought my mother down to the school, and I wouldn't answer to John. Took me to the principal's office and all that stuff, and I was so stubborn, I ended up getting my way. They called me David at school. I just refused to answer to John. That's how much I hated my father, and because he was an alcoholic, the last thing I wanted to do when I got older was become an alcoholic, but I outdid him by miles. He was actually a good daddy compared to me. He eventually quit drinking. He had a dream where he saw us three boys going into a tunnel or like a doodlebug hole in the ground, kind of a cone-shaped hole, and we were trying to climb up, and the dirt was coming down with us, and we couldn't make it to the top. And he was at the top pushing us back down. And he said he woke up from that dream and it changed his life. Anyway, he quit drinking. He didn't drink for the last 10 years of his life. And that's when I got to know my real father and got closer to him, and really miss him now and wish we would have had a better relationship. But that's how that went. So I was raised around an alcoholic, and I didn't want that in my family, but I ended up marrying 5 times or burning 5 marriages, 5 sons, one with each wife, and all because of alcohol and drugs. I messed them all up. I used to think it was all their fault and blame them because most of them had gone out on me and things, but I realized later when I got honest and looked at and did my work in AA and wrote things down, that I actually pushed them away from me. I probably forced them into another man's arms, and it was really my fault more than theirs. They were young girls, and I was a strong, big man that took control of things, and these girls, I manipulated them, and I just didn't treat them as equals, and so really I've had to go back and make amends to them now and tell them that I was self-centered and lying and manipulative and all these kind of things, and they agree with me, of course, but they've really have only been able to make amends to one of them in person, and she said she forgives me, but I don't know that she does. It doesn't really matter.
I was
anyway,
talking.
That's probably all I want to say today.
Okay, that's good, David. I was let me mention some here. I'm going to call this on the little videos because I try to put titles. Now, David, when he wants, I'm going to let him tell his whole story. But I'll call this David 1, okay? And then when he wants, I'll call the next one David 2. Yesterday, I was with Pops. You saw the video already. But you know, Pops, when I went over there, I haven't seen him since I got back from New York until yesterday. He told me, Preacher John, he says, I want to tell you a dream I had last night. And he had a dream that he died. And I'm taking Pops to his medical appointments with VA because he's got the liver cancer. And he said, I had a dream that I died. He said, and I was in the casket. And there were 12 pallbearers. 12 is very significant in Scripture. He said, and one of the pallbearers was Charlie Boy, who also passed away. And he said, but I was in the casket, and as they were carrying me, he said, I was singing, and you know I like rock music. He was singing the song from Guns N' Roses, Axl Rose, Pops, in his dream, knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. And he said that dream, I don't think he's ever shared dreams with me, Pops. And I said, that was significant. He was knocking on heaven's door. He said, and he was so happy as he was being carried in the casket. Dreams have significance in Scripture, and David just shared the dream that his father had. And through the dream, his father realized that he was harming his kids. And according to what David just said, it was the dream that caused his father to quit drinking. In time, we only went 15 minutes. I used to call David Pops. Okay, and some of the other guys David helps calls him Pops. But I also call Pops. And I met the Pops you know from David, because Pops has a very good, interesting story in AA, and a lot of people in this area know Pops. His name is Bobby. So today you got a little bit, and I'm glad. I have not been here visiting David at his apartment. It's been a while, maybe 9 months or so, and I didn't know if he still had it or not. So today, you know what else is interesting? As I was walking over here, I had told you in the other video, I started talking to a Jehovah's Witness lady, but a very nice talk. I didn't have a debate with her, and I shared that on the other video, and David just said yesterday he was talking to a Jehovah's Witness girl. So I want you to kind of get in. Jackie, say hi. Can I get you on? Okay, she's not all dressed, properly.
She looks pretty.
I know. Say hi, Jack. No, yes, say hi.
Hi. Hi.
That's Jackie.
That's my baby. My bad.
Okay, that's it for today. And very informal. I told David it's informal. Hopefully he'll tell the whole story. It's a very interesting story.